We know that you've been tracking Irene all week, and you have new information in right now from the National Hurricane Center.
Well, what we've noticed in looking at the data from the Hurricane Center, that the center of the storm may be drifting a little further to the north and east. It may re-emerge back out over water, and that'll be interesting because the storms feed or get their energy from the waters, and that may slow the weakening process. Now we're looking at live pictures, speaking of the waters, down at Narragansett Beach, Narragansett Town Beach. This is actually looking out from the Coast Guard house across the water, and of course the surf has been building all day, and these pictures will be rather dramatic come tomorrow morning and tomorrow afternoon. Just remember, this is a webcam picture that you can get on our website anytime. So, from the dry confines of your home, you can certainly look at what the coast looks like on that link on our website, WPRI.com. But the storm surge likely along the south shore. The warnings have not changed. The Weather Service and National Hurricane Center feels that they're going to keep this in place with a hurricane warning for the areas in red, Providence Point south and east, and a tropical storm warning further to the north. So quite simply, the strongest winds would be in our southern suburbs and along the south shore. The winds still significant in our northern suburbs, but not as strong. Now, more than likely, we won't see sustained hurricane force winds. However, more than likely we'll gust to hurricane force along the south shore, and that's why we still anticipate a surge and some power outages. A surge meaning some coastal flooding. Keeping an eye on the Fox Point hurricane barrier, one of the gates already closed. More than likely up in here in the upper part of Narragansett Bay during the time of high tide tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock, anticipating perhaps a 2 to 4 foot storm surge, and all the more reason why these gates may be closed. And of course, along the south shore, we're looking at significant wave action and erosion at the time of high tide. So here's the situation with Irene. Category 1 storm, winds of 80 miles per hour. Don't be fooled, even though the wind speeds have come down, and of course that's good news. It's still a large storm in size and still has the potential for a number of weather hazards here beginning early tomorrow morning. Take a look at the high resolution satellite and radar composite to southern New England right in here, and we're noticing that the eye, you can see the counterclockwise swirl near this is Kill Devil's Hill, North Carolina. It looks like it may try to re-emerge back out over the water, and to be curious to see whether or not that slows the weakening process as it works to the north and east, making landfall, we think, somewhere in western Connecticut, central Long Island by early tomorrow morning, and that's when the weather really starts to go downhill on Sunday. We have computers that can actually predict wave heights with nor'easters and hurricanes, and this starts at 7 o'clock this evening, and this bullseye of white represents waves 35 feet tall offshore. Put this into motion, and this wave energy is just offshore. This is 7 o'clock tomorrow evening. You can see that a lot of this energy has to propagate towards the coastline, so we're talking battering waves at both high tide cycles tomorrow morning and then again tomorrow afternoon. Irene, winds of 80, gusts to 100, now moving north-northeast at 11. This orange and red area represents the envelope of wind, so the wind field is 500 miles wide. This is tropical storm force winds. The deeper purple in the center are hurricane force winds. So we put this into motion, and you can see by tomorrow morning making landfall somewhere out in western Long Island, western Connecticut, as either a Category 1 hurricane or a very strong tropical storm. Still a significant storm, and notice we're on the right-hand side of the storm, and that is huge as far as wind potential. For one, that is going to create an onshore wind at the time of high tide tomorrow that's going to pull all those battering waves at the time of high tide along the south shore, and that's why we anticipate a storm surge along the coastline. Usually with a track like this, the real heavy rain is along and to the left of the storm track. So if there's any good news that the real tremendous heavy rains will be held just to our west. That's not to say we're getting sprinkles tomorrow, because we'll more than likely get some heavy downpours. We're anticipating anywhere between 3 to 6 inches of rain in the Providence metro area and not as much out across southeastern Mass. Keep in mind also that because we're on the right-hand side of the storm, this is the windiest side, and we do anticipate some damaging wind with this system as it comes through in the morning. Just want to show you quickly about the storm surge, the areas in red at the time of high tide with the wind coming in off the ocean and those battering waves between, with the wind speeds between 35 and 50 sustained, gusting 55 to hurricane force. It's why we're very concerned about the surge potential and why the EMA has some mandatory evacuations in some communities. A lot to cover. TJ is here. We're all working very hard here as the new information continues to come in from the National Hurricane Center, analyzing more data, and we'll take another look at how tomorrow is going to play out, the timetable, especially tomorrow morning. That's all coming up in about 5 minutes.